Alright, hello everyone, how's it going? This is Christopher Z, of course, and Mikey Allstar here, and today we have another short film commentary. Oh yeah! So it's been a while since we've done one of these. I like to save them for when I have 6 new short films made, and we just reached the 6th one just a little bit ago. So let's go ahead and do some commentary, shall we? So first up we have Curiosity. Now, this is the story of this guy who sees this garbage bag lying in a bunch of leaves and stuff, and he goes to investigate, and he sees something quite disturbing. This idea actually came to me while I was on a walk. I was walking around the neighborhood and I saw this garbage bag just lying in the leaves, and I don't know why this idea came into my mind. I was like, hey, what if there's something freaky in that bag of leaves? And I was like, hey, I could work with that. Now, the original title for this short film was actually going to be like Trash Bag or Garbage Bag. I was like, yeah, that's kind of stupid, isn't it? So I was like, hey, I'll just call it Curiosity, because that's very basic and simple, but I guess it sort of gets to the point of the story. It's sort of like, the idea of curiosity killed the cat. That's sort of the main basis of this story, the sort of main, plot thing, I guess, the main point of the plot, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, so I had a lot of fun making this one. There's, a few different experimental things I did. Like, for example, there's, the shot where he pulls down the trash bag and stuff, and I wanted that to be, from the perspective of what's inside the trash bag. That was pretty fun. And I actually got some leaves from outside. I was like, hey, I need some leaves, so why just, put a bunch of Lego studs down? I can just use leaves from outside, so that's what I did. I wanted this one to have a sort of darker aesthetic to it. I had this idea for a shot where the guy's walking around at night with a flashlight, so I tried to portray that to the best of my ability with the Lego stuff. And yeah, overall it was a pretty fun story. And I guess in the end, I don't really have an explanation for the ending per se. Just that this guy, of course he probably dies in the end because the guy finds him and stuff. The shifty neighbor, sneaks up behind him and stuff. So I guess the guy in the trash bag is him, but it's him from the future maybe. I don't know honestly, but yeah, that's it. And oh yeah, there's also the dream sequence too. I wanted to make that sort of creepy, it gets him to wake up and stuff and gets him out of the house, and he keeps on thinking about the trash bag, so he goes out to investigate it. So that's the point of the dream, but that was fun to make too. Alright, next up we have It's a Living. So I had to write a very small little passage. I was in this advanced fiction writing class, and one of the things we had to do is each week we had to write a little story based on whatever the professor wanted us to write, whether it be oh, I've got a little prompt for you, I've got a quote or something. I don't really remember what this one is. I think the prompt was that someone was hiding something. That's the idea, that one character was hiding something from another person. So I don't know which came first actually, if the short story that I wrote came first before this, or if I made this before the short story. I think I may have made this before the short story. I'm not sure. But the idea is that I was inspired by that, though. That's where this came from. And It's a Living is about this guy. He's a hitman, and he has this hit on this person that works for some sort of business or whatever, financial business thing or whatever. I don't remember exactly. But they wait for a taxi. He's sort of playing it off cool and stuff, but the person in the taxi actually works for him. It's all a very big scheme. Then he just goes along with this guy, and they're talking about their lives and stuff, oh, hey, what do you do for a living? This guy's oh yeah, I work as a businessman. This other guy's I'm a hitman. Sort of a small hint of what's going on. It's this person is sort of oblivious, but it gradually gets more and more amped up, where it's all right, this guy's gonna die. And in the end, of course, it's he's oh, who's your next target? It's he says, funny you should ask, and that's where it ends. So yeah. And I also experimented these short films. The basic reason why I make these is, one, for fun, of course, but also to experiment with different filming styles and stuff, and different ideas that I have. So for this one in particular, I've done this in the past, but not actually in a serious manner. But this one I want to do it seriously. Is what I did is I used my phone for the car window. I didn't really do it as well as I would have liked, but you can kind of see in certain shots that there's a moving background. So I want to do that for the car, it seems like it's moving and stuff. I thought that was kind of fun. That's the main reason why I made this short film, to sort of experiment with that a little more. But yeah, so yeah, the ending, of course, the guy gets shot and is dead, and the taxi driver helps him cover it up and stuff. And yeah, I figured that would be fun thing to do. Not fun for that guy, but fun to make at least. Alright, so next up we have Brainwashing Man. This advanced fiction class is very helpful. It gave me a few ideas. This one actually came from a short story that I made called Mind Blown, I believe. I had 2 ideas for the title. I was one was Brainwashed, the other one was Mind Blown or whatever. And I was I'll use this one for this, and I'll use that one for the video. So yeah, they're basically the same exact plots, where these 2 hitmen, or these 2 guys, they have hostages, and one of them tries to escape, so one of them shoots him in the head, and it makes a big mess, and the guy's very mad at him, and he's dude, what did you do, man? You just made a big mess, we're kind of screwed. They're in this abandoned gas station, and they're like, oh crap, someone could have heard that gunshot, so they try to cover it up and stuff. And what they do is that they spray aerosol on the blood. They drag the body away, and then they spray aerosol on it to make it look like it's like, oh, this is just it's just cherry cherry icy or whatever that melted on the floor or something, just in case anyone ever sees it. So yeah, he drags the body away. I think one of my favorite things to do in this part was to mess around with paints. I used paint on the head and I dragged it away to make it look like, there's like, dragging blood and stuff all over the ground, and the guy's like, dude, pick it up, man, you're dragging blood all over the place. That was a lot of fun. The style of this video was a lot of fun to make. I used white paper for the backgrounds, and of course like the paint for the blood too is just black paint instead of like red paint, since it was already in black and white. So I figured, hey, it's probably gonna look close enough to like what blood would look like, I guess, in black and white, I suppose. So yeah, so I actually do have the short story if you'd like to read it. I'm gonna try to remember to put it in the description below if you'd like to read it. And yeah, so in the end, of course, the police officer shows up. He gets a call that there's some sort of disturbance in the gas station. So he comes over and he's like, oh, what? Oh, they're like, oh, it's fine. It's just red Kool-Aid or whatever. The guy's like, yeah, of course, you're right. And he walks out. He's like, ah, whew. They think they get away, but then, boom, the guy's like, you think I'm stupid? I'm coming back. He comes back. He's like, hey, this is blood, man. I'm not an idiot. I'm a cop, man. I know what blood's like. So, he walks, they get arrested and stuff. So that's the end, I gotta say that these endings are a little less ambiguous, despite like, I guess curiosity out of these three is like the most ambiguous, where it's like, what exactly happened? Like, how is his body in there already when he's still alive? It's like he's already dead, but I don't know. That's pretty weird. Alright, next up is probably one of my more messed up short films. I've got another one coming up soon that's actually going to be even more messed up than this, so there is that. These short films get a little messed up, I must say. But this one is A Place in the Summer Sun. Now, this idea I've had for quite a while. I really like this one song. It's called Indian Lake, and it's quite a nice, fun song. Very good sort of summery vacation song, I suppose. And there's this line that I keep on hearing that's like, what? The line is, it's a scene you should make with your little ones, but I always thought it was a sin you should make with your little ones. Like, what does that even mean? What? So that was sort of what was on my mind. Just the misunderstanding of the lyric is like, what's going on in Indian Lake? Like, is there some messed up thing going on there? So I started thinking about like, oh, what if it was like, like this sacred Native American ground or something that now these people are visiting. It's been commercialized and stuff. So that was sort of the basis of my idea. That yeah, there's some messed up stuff going on there. There's like this haunted ghost of like a Native American going around and killing tourists there because he's upset that people are using his land and stuff for that sacred land instead of respecting it. So basically, yeah, what I did is I basically made a music video. I had the music playing, not actually in the background, but I filmed it, and I sort of filmed it to the music in a way. Like, I had certain spots chosen in the music to sort of like the certain beats to like go with. That was like a certain point where I wanted the Native American guy to be seen as like at a timestamp or whatever, and then I kept it going and stuff, and tried to keep in mind the song while I was filming it to make it sort of line up to the best of my ability. So that was a lot of fun. It was something I've never done before. I've actually made like another music video that's not on my channel that I guess I could post if I think I still have it. It's pretty bad. It's like one of my early stop motions, but it was a lot of fun to make. It was like one of the most fun stop motion experiences I've ever had. So it's for Another One Bites the Dust. It's like Lord of the Rings, Another One Bites the Dust. It's pretty stupid, but it was really fun to make. So I might post that actually. We'll see. But yeah. So yeah, the whole idea was basically to make a music video, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's very experimental, something I've never done before. So that was fun to mess around with, and I might do that again in the future. We'll see. But yeah, so that was A Place in the Summer Sun. Next up, we have Happiness. This actually just came out of me just experimenting with my camera. I was like, hey, there's like this cool shot I had in mind for like this guy standing on top of like a clock tower or whatever, and I sort of like filmed the basic idea of it. It's like, wait, this could be something. And I started thinking about like the idea of happiness at like other people's expenses, where it's like this person may not be happy, but they're making somebody else happy. Like if they're feeling bad or something, but this person wants to hang out, they're like, hey, it's fine, yeah, and it might cheer them up hanging out with somebody, but sort of like you're trying to make them happy when you're not necessarily happy. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And this idea of like this person not wanting someone to exist because they're out of their life and they just feel like, you know, they don't want to remember them anymore. So it's a very, very dark story. I didn't really have an idea for the name until like the end. I was like, wait, I call this happiness because it's, you know, it's not about the main character's happiness, it's about the other person's happiness. This idea of like, you know, a failed marriage and stuff, it was like, it's a little dark, isn't it? You know, at the end, it's a little dark too. But yeah, the main the main purpose why I made this story is because I just like the aesthetic that I found. I was like, this is kind of a cool aesthetic I would like to experiment with and make a short film out of it. So that's basically the reason why I made that. But yes, and then of course the last one, help needed. I don't really know where this idea came from. Just like this idea of someone hitting this animal. They think it's an animal, but then it turns out it's not an animal at all. It's like this alien being or whatever. It's like, and it attacks them and stuff. That's basically the main idea of that. But that was fun to make. I wanted to mess around with the style, and I do admit it's a little darker than I would have liked. Like when I was editing it, I was like, wow, this is actually like a lot darker than I thought it was. Not the story, but the lighting. I was like, wow, this is really really dark. I'm not sure why. Because it didn't look that dark when I was filming it, but that was weird. But yeah, that was basically the main idea of that. The other one wasn't super deep or anything. There's just just kind of a fun little story that I wanted to tell of this guy, you know, getting messed up by this alien. It's like, hey, you gotta watch out on the road because you never know what you may hit. So yeah, there we go. So anyways, that is about it with the short film commentary. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be doing this again in about half a year. It takes me about half a year to make these, make 6. So yeah, there we go. Anyways, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!